Watch out now.
Welcome into the Slobber Sports Podcast, episode number 68. It's a gloomy day after the performances we saw yesterday. Of course, we have Patrick Mahomes going back to the Super Bowl, taking on Jalen Hurts for the second time in the Philadelphia Eagles and the running Saquon Barkley. We're going to dive into wrapping up all of the NFL season as we move towards all these new coaching hires. We'll talk about some of those. We'll grade some of the hires, and we will recap the NFL, NFC, and AFC Championship games. Before we do any of that stuff, and obviously the 2-minute drill and the brookies, I have to start with what happened this last weekend in our world. And, it was kind of a wild weekend for Big Dog Turner and I. And so there was a big...
I was wondering what was going to happen.
There was a big party going on. And there we go. Big Dog started off. We were partying for. It really wasn't me. It was Turner and Big Dog and Jeremiah, and they were partying for the Bills Chiefs game, ready to go. There's Turner and Big Dog partying. Jerry Jones in the back was there too. Good old Jerry. Yep. There's Jeremiah, Jerry, and Turner in the club later in the night. They were just in there. They were having a good time. I must admit, there's Turner again.
Hey, yeah.
And
me and the guy from old school.
No, that's your grandpa.
Oh, it's blue.
I have to admit, I was there too. I was there for a little bit. I didn't get caught.
Look at that monkey. That's funny. It's hilarious.
We were having a good time.
Yep.
There's Turner and Big Dog.
Oh yeah.
Muck Mahomes. He had the paint on his chest. And Trump was there too. If you can see on the bottom corner. But. And look, Kevin showed up too. Kevin McLaughlin was there.
Look at that. There's Kevin. That's actually hysterical.
But I slipped that in there. Sorry, that was an accident. Big Dog got arrested.
Oh no.
Big Dog did get arrested, and then they all went in, and there was a mug shot. And I hate to say that Turner, Jeremiah, and Big Dog all got arrested for inciting a riot. But have no fear, because Jeff Davis was here, and I called him.
There he is.
And if you call the fours, he not only got Turner out and Big Dog and Jeremiah, he got him out. We sued for wrongful arrests, and we're going to get a settlement from the police department for the riots that were incited by ourselves. That's how good Jeff Davis is, okay?
Yep, that's how
you call
good
him,
Jeff is.
He'll get you off, and he'll get you a settlement. So call the fours. Fours are here for you. Just wanted to recap the weekend.
What a great ad. Great ad. Love you, Jeff.
That's what you get with us, Jeff, if you're our sponsor, when you get that letter
what
from
a
me
weekend it was. He got us out in less than 6 hours. We were out of there. Didn't even have to eat in jail.
No, you didn't have to. And luckily, I didn't get arrested, so I was able to call the force. But even if you have your one phone call, I wouldn't call your mom or your wife.
No,
definitely
just call the
force. You just call the force. You don't even have to. It's an easy number to remember. I mean, it's simple. This is why he's here. Okay, he exists for one reason and one reason only.
He's here for you.
Yep. You never forget it. Okay, we're gonna move on to the 2-minute drill.
Watch out now.
We're gonna start with Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt football.
Well,
looks
it is Vanderbilt football.
Okay.
But it's because I want to go back real quick and we're going to relive. So if you remember, this was back in the beginning of the college football season when my great Vanderbilt Commodores upset Alabama, number 1 Alabama. This was a great moment in Vanderbilt history. Now, the problem was they stormed the field here, right? And this was their first infraction, and this cost them $100,000.
Oh, Vanderbilt pisses $100,000. Right, Bailey. That's nothing. They don't give a shit about that.
They don't.
Celebrate the win.
They don't care about it so much that after the win, they then went and upset number 6 Tennessee. This was last Saturday.
Oh.
And this is Vanderbilt winning again. And what a day to be a Commodore. Another huge win. They upset their rival. And once again, they stormed the court here. This is second infraction. Okay, this one now $250,000.
Oh dang, basketball's $250,000.
Well, it's the second infraction of the season, of the year, of the school year. So second infraction, and then right after that, this was this Saturday, taking on number 9 Kentucky, another top 10 team, and once again, you're gonna pull the upset here, as you see AJ Hogarth get the rebound. And after he misses this free throw right here, he's going to dribble the clock out. A.J. Hogard coming over from Michigan State to Vanderbilt. Man, what an uptick that program is on. My Commodores. Now,
imagine if they had Jerry Stackhouse coaching the club still.
I don't know.
They'd be unbelievable.
Look at Mark Byington. Why does he wear his glasses on his head? That bothers me. Just put your glasses on or don't wear them.
Bailey.
But, hold on real quick. Look.
Yeah, another storm
Wait,
court.
$500,000.
Bailey, have they told these kids not to storm the court? What are you hearing on the door report? I mean, that's costing them a lot of money over there. I know. That's what I was about to say. Those guys are like, fuck this.
They had all the extra security. I think it was like supposed to be a deterrent, and they were like, hey, if they actually do it, if they actually do storm, just let them go. Because this is way more than the other game.
Yeah, the problem is probably, too, is like you're dealing with these Vanderbilt kids, privilege at its finest. You come, some Vanderbilt kid catches an elbow from one of the security guards, and it's costing more than $500,000 probably.
It's very, very true.
Jeff Davis would get double that for whoever got elbowed.
No, Jeff, that's a good point. Jeff Davis would absolutely get you a settlement.
Danny, we're fucking tired.
Okay, buzzer beater of the week. We got 3 nominees here. Now, this one is your Idaho Vandals taking on Northern Colorado. Northern Colorado 6-0 in conference. Okay, and this is
in the Kibbe Dome, I think, right? Did they
I
still
was
play
trying-
ball in the Kibbe Dome, or did they build them an arena?
So I was
that
trying.
doesn't look necessarily like the Kibbe Dome.
I was trying to look it up, and it said that this was that they play in Idaho Central Credit Union Arena, but I don't know if that's actually.
They must have built them a little arena.
They might just rename it for the games. I don't know, but I will tell you this: you don't just come into Idaho Central Credit Union Arena and walk away with a victory. It's like going into Piscataway; it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's a
okay?
very tough place to play.
And so this is
Moscow, Idaho.
This is Jaron Rice, okay, for Northern Colorado, and they're tied with under 10 seconds to go. Rice is one of their best players. He's going to drive. The lefty's going to flip it up, and he's going to bank it in to give him the lead here.
Oh, no.
But the other way, Colton Mitchell, the freshman, at the buzzer.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that was I thought that first layup was going to be the game winner, and I was like, oh, that was a pretty nice game winner, and then that.
Yeah, Colton Mitchell, baby.
Devastating loss for the Vandals.
They were no, that's a win for the Vandals. The Vandals
that
won
was
it.
the Vandals?
Yeah, that was the Vandals.
Oh, I thought they were wearing the in the other uni.
No,
that's a win.
They were the Vandals were the underdogs here. Northern Colorado was 6-0 in conference. Look at this.
What a play.
Look at this shot again. This actually was ridiculous.
God.
The lead. Here's Colton Mitchell. 2 seconds left. Mitchell puts it up. Scores!
It was a great call too.
It was a great call. And the Vandals, look at the white boy representing.
What a shot.
Look, he's high-fiving right in front of the Northern Colorado player. Oh, my gosh. Okay, number 2. Campbell taking on Hofstra here. Okay?
Camels.
Well, I was going to say, do you know what they're...
Well,
I was going to say, but you know Campbell's. You just said it. The Fighting Camels,
yeah, the
baby.
Campbells,
How did you know that?
Camels.
You know what Hofstra? Hofstra's is weird.
No, yeah, it's a weird one. It's some kind of bird, isn't it?
It's the Hofstra Pride.
Yeah, but the mascot.
Oh, I don't know what their mascot
I would have
is.
never gotten it. Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it's a lion, like a lion pride, perhaps.
Oh, it's very possible.
That probably is what it is. Yeah, I don't know.
But Campbell taking on Hofstra, all right, in the CAA, and the Fighting Campbells were down. Yeah. They were down big, okay? This is early in the first half, but they got down as many as 18, okay? And they were down 16 at halftime. Were the Fighting Camels, but the Camels mounted a comeback here. Now, they are down by 3, and Hofstra has the ball here, okay, with under 10 seconds to go. And they're going to get a steal. And Jason Sinai is going to bang a 3 in the corner and tie it up here. Okay, so we're going to go to overtime. And in overtime now, this is the last play of the game. We're tied with like 10 seconds to go. All right. And this is Colby Duggan.
Loses it.
Bang.
Oh, what a shot from the Camels.
And Duggan called game, and Campbell walks it off. So what a win for the Campbell Fighting Camels.
Yeah, that's tough.
Okay, that's number 2. Now, last one, we're going to go to Austin, Texas, my Longhorns, all right? And they were taking on Texas A&M, their rivals. And this is early in the game, in the second half. And they were down 22 with 17 minutes to go in the game. Crazy comeback, all right? But this is Trey Johnson. Trey Johnson here is a super freshman. He's going to be a lottery pick. He's unbelievable, man. He had 30 in this game, 24 in the second half. Some of these shots are just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a star. And so he's going to basically single-handedly bring them back in this game.
Damn, they were down 12 with 6 to go still,
Yep.
huh?
Yep.
Bam.
Down 10 still with under 6. And Trey Johnson starts to heat up again. Down 4 with 50 seconds to go. Trey's going to bang this 3, and they go 2 for 1, so they're able to play it out. They get a stop. They're going to get the ball back down 1.
What a crazy.
No, it really was. It was a ridiculous comeback. And here's Trey with the ball, and they double him. And so it goes to the Arkansas transfer, Tremont Mark. And he's going to flip it up and in at the buzzer with 3.7. Now, actually, A&M's going to get a look here. This was almost a double buzzer
Wade
beater.
Taylor almost made it. Oh,
Almost.
Really did. Front
I mean,
rim.
literally was that close.
Well,
to
what a
going
win
in.
from Texas.
Tremont-
Rodney Terry's doing a fantastic job there.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
Yep, Rodney Terry, baby. And Rodney we trust.
Yeah. He'll be there another year and a half, maybe.
Maybe they'll hire Jerry Stackhouse if they let him go.
I will.
Jerry, Uncle Jerry.
I would take Jerry Stackhouse over Rodney Terry. I really would. Bailey doesn't agree. Okay, dumbass of the week actually is Rodney Terry because this is Rodney Terry after the win in the handshake line. Look at this guy. Look at this idiot.
Yeah,
I mean, what a fucking
tongue out in the handshake
in
line.
a handshake line. Let's go. Oh yeah, we win.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Fucking loser, man. God, I can't stand him. Okay, we have to have our weekly Doug Gottlieb update. All right, I want you to take a listen.
This year, longtime media personality Doug Gottlieb took it over. And while his first season hasn't been smooth sailing, he's confident he can get the program going back in the right direction. As he told me, Rome wasn't built in a day.
My goal was to get better and better and better. And I think anybody who's watched this team and is honest with themselves says they've had a lot of ups and downs, but we're definitely getting better.
2-1, game over. Final score, Cleveland State 81, Green Bay 66 with the loss.
56-year record, 17 losses in a row, baby.
They fall to 2-20.
2-20, 0-11 in the
Green
conference.
Bay now 0-9 in the Horizon
But,
League.
You know, we're waiting for the J-term grades, to announce we think we're going to have the highest GPA in team history.
Highest GPA in team history, though. He pisses excellence.
They're doing it the right way, man. They're doing it the right way in Green Bay.
I was listening to that, like, he didn't actually say that, did he?
I mean,
He
you
didn't
gotta
actually brag about the GPA.
You have to. When you've lost 17 in a row, you're like, well, you know what?
We're grasping for straws here.
Yeah.
Okay, couple of extra
Playing
clips
better.
here, and we'll finish up the 2-minute drill. This was my favorite clip of the week. I saw this last night. Kyrie Irving and the Celtics taking on...
Oh, I saw this.
This is why you don't look at your phone during the game.
This poor
okay?
kid got smoked.
I mean, absolutely.
Oh!
Pow right in the kisser.
Oh! That was pretty funny. Everybody, they had to get him. Poor little guy had his nose busted open. They had to get him a rag, and everybody had to go check on him.
Oh, he was bleeding from his nose?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was a pretty tough little
Kyrie
hit.
went over there and checked on him.
This is Thanasis Antetokounmpo's new job. This is what he does. Imagine that being you're in the NBA and
I wonder how much he makes. What's minimum?
Oh, like probably $1 million.
What a
dude, he
deal.
just gets to follow around Giannis. What a deal! Just like basically
I mean, you know
rebound.
what's funny though about it is like Giannis probably has the one thing I will say is Giannis probably has a point in the sense that he's like, hey, look, it's 12-man roster, right?
Yeah.
They never in the NBA is the 11th or 12th man go in. Like unless it's
I agree.
Unless the game is severely out of hand either way, like they never go in. So Giannis was like, hey, look, you're going to sign my contract. My brother's going to make the minimum. That's all. He's going to make the minimum, and he's just going to travel around with us. That's what I want. They were like, okay. I mean, it's like, you can't even really argue with it. I feel like it's less, like, obviously he's not an NBA player, but it's still not as bad as Bronny and Bron.
No, it's not as bad.
It's close, but not as bad.
It's not as bad, and you have to think about it. Like, okay, it's not as bad in the sense of two ways. Number one, when they drafted Thanasis, which I think is his name, there's so many of. There's like Thanasis, Panasis.
I think there's like 12 kids. Yeah.
Thanasis. So when they drafted him, it's like, okay, well, he's Giannis's brother, so maybe he'll be a fifth of what Giannis is in the NBA, and then he's still like a role player, right?
Yeah.
Like, so that makes sense. Bronny being Bron's son is much less correlated. Like, if he's bad in college, he's probably, and he's 6'1", he's probably not going to be much bigger or better, right? Number one. Number two, nobody believes that Thanasis is on the team for any other reason than Giannis wants him there, right? But they push this bullshit that Bronny deserves to be in the NBA. That's the problem with it.
Yeah.
If everybody was like, no, it's just because if Bronny's like, no, it's just because he's my son and I want him on the team, fine. I'd be like, oh, that's okay. That's cool. That's fine. But no, to push this thing that, oh, he's an NBA player and like, get the fuck out of here. He's not an NBA player. Okay, real quick, James Harden doing
bearded monster
doing bearded monster things. Check this out. Look at this flop. Watch.
Dude, he hit him with an elbow.
He never
yes, he did. He smoked him.
I mean,
dude.
Why?
James is the greatest actor in NBA history. Look at this, dude. You would
contact.
have believed 100% he got smoked. He times everything up right. He grabs on the way down.
Dude, he literally.
It's like, but the funniest thing is he does that like there's no replay. Like,
no, he does. But
like,
you know
what are
what's
you doing, James?
He's such a good actor that Giannis went over and helped him up. Giannis went over and helped him up after flopping. He was like, maybe I did hit him. I don't know.
What a legend.
Now, real quick, we got to pull up an Angel Reese highlights. I saw this. Well, it's multiple clips. Look at this double dribble. What a hesitation right there. My bad. That was on me. Yeah, it was on you.
What the hell is this, by the way?
I don't know. I was trying to figure out what this was. Look at these layups.
Why does it look like? Why does it look like there's smoke in the arena? Like they're playing EuroLeague ball.
No, they're allowed.
Greece.
They're allowed to smoke weed in the arena during this game.
They might be. Who are you kidding here? That's like Rick Pitino when he coached. I think I told you, like, I forgot which Greece side it was. It was like, they need to have a little respect for the players and, whatever. We're not going to play. And they're like, fuck you, Rick. We smoke here. If you watch those highlights, they light flares and smoke indoors.
No, I've seen that. It's actually one of the crazier things I've ever seen, that they actually do that in an indoor basketball game. That wraps up the 2-minute drill. I'm going to go quickly because I have a video for it into best thing I saw this week, because I didn't know whether to put this on the 2-minute drill or not.
Got it.
And then you tell me yours. But I don't know if you saw this, but this is Nikola Jokic making a literal full court shot.
One-handed.
Makes it. Now watch the celebration. Just like another normal play.
Yeah,
one
like,
of your buckets tonight
points.
was from right about where we're standing, right over there, a 66-foot make. What were you thinking when you let that one go?
I knew it was going in, so.
Watch his post-game interview too.
Nikola, 7-time All-Star. I bet a lot of these Nuggets fans in here voted for you to make it there. What do you have to say to them?
Thank you, guys. Thank you for sending me and making me not having rest. Thank you, guys.
It felt good coming off your hand.
It was like it was straight to the basket, so this is going in probably. So it had a really good line.
It's going in.
Coach, you made a shot like that in practice?
Probably not. Maybe I did. Who knows?
His interviews are the best.
I don't know. Maybe I did. Who knows?
Who knows?
That's like, it's a movie. It can't. He's not a real person. There's no way that's a real. That guy's dominating the fucking NBA right now. Like, what in the world is going on? People are like, he might be the greatest big man ever. He's just, and he's having his best season apparently ever. People are saying. I haven't been following much of the NBA, but he's been ridiculous. That game, he had like 37, 22, and 16 or something like that. It was absurd. You have the best thing you saw this week?
Yeah, you'll have to find the clip. I'll have to get it over to you. It's last night after the Bills game. A guy calls into that Gruden Shred show with Portnoy and them, and it's a Bills guy, he's just, it's 3 minutes of just being, it would be like you after the Texas loss, but he's just calling in and he like answers his own question at first. He goes, how are you guys doing? He goes, I'm in rough shape. And he just like goes into this Bill. It's like, I told these guys, take me off this fucking Bills group chat. I've been doing this shit. I'm 43 years old. I've been dealing with it for that first missed field goal in the Super Bowl. He goes, it's never going to get better. It's not going to get better. This and that and the other. And he goes, I'm probably not done. I say I'm done. I'm probably not done. I'll probably be back for more next year, but it's just pain and misery. It's like, basically that's the gist of it. He just talks for like 3 minutes, and Portnoy's just got the biggest shit. He lost $1 million on it, but shit-eating grin on his face. And it's the best thing I saw this week because it's just so relatable of like people and their teams and just like, and how all of Buffalo was feeling. It was just a purpose. Like, I love this team, man.
Yeah.
He goes, and I think, I don't know what we do with McDermott because I love the guy, but we never, what do we do? Do we move on from, what do we do? And it's like, he's like, I love what he does through the community. He's like tearing up. He's like, I love the guy. I love this team, man. But he goes, I think I'm done. And he just keeps going back and forth. It's great. You can find it. It's like a 3-minute clip. I'll find it.
Every Bills fan's mind after the game.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like the just a heart being torn. And they asked him, like, what do you like being better, the doormat of the division? Or, well, give me the doormat, man. It's much more enjoyable. He goes, it's just, we go to the games. We know we're going to lose. We don't care. Bills Mafia, it's great. This is so much, he's like, this is so much worse. Losing like this every year is so much worse. We know what's going to happen. We sit here and we watch the train wreck. It's like, we know what's going to happen.
Bring back Ryan Fitzpatrick, and let's go back to the good old days, with the Bills. No, like for real, it is brutal. I think about that, like with the way Texas keeps losing in the semifinals, and obviously I've experienced at least a championship back in 2006, and Texas has been good in my lifetime, but it's different than Bills fans who have never tasted it. But it's the same type of deal where we keep getting close, and it's just like, man, I think I'd rather just suck. It's just so much less difficult when you do lose, and it's all these just brutal emotions, and going through the upswings and downswings of a game is tough enough. So I can relate to that for sure. Do you have a Brookie of the week?
Man, Brookie of the week was tough for me this week.
There wasn't a lot out there.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot out there. I was just gonna give it to I think James Cook had another awesome game, and the reason I give it to him is just because I don't know how he's such a team player where he's not losing his fucking mind on the sideline. Like, he had 13 carries for 85 yards. And I mean, every time he had the best touchdown run of the game by far on fourth down.
Legendary run.
Yeah, putting a hand down and getting in the end zone. Just tough running. And it's like they have Johnson and Ray Davis in there, and I'm just like, I would get having Johnson in there as a third down back. I know they love him out of the backfield, and they say he's the best third down back in the game. I get it. But there was a ton of first and second downs that James Cook won in the game, and you had touched on it that someone was saying that Joe Brady, there's something going on there, whatever. It doesn't make sense to have not have James Cook in the game.
Yeah,
and I agree. I mean, when he was in there, he played fantastic. Didn't put a foot wrong, and just anyway, sucks. I just wonder if he had 7 more carries, if it would have been different. And like Gruden was talking about, look, we talk about the tush push. I want the tush push out of the NFL, right? But here's the thing about it. The Bills tried to fucking do it yesterday and could not fucking do it. They had no idea what they were doing. And I was like, what? Like even Portnoy was saying this, where I don't typically agree with him, but he's like, what the fuck are they doing? It's like, they're handing either Josh Allen running out of the shotgun downhill or handing the ball to James Cook, having a ton of success. They don't know how to do it. And it's like, I don't know why they're not running normal quarterback sneaks. But Portnoy was saying, too, and it made a lot of sense, like, you watch the Eagles, it's 2 guys pushing. The Bills had one guy, and Josh Allen kept stepping to the left and then losing all his momentum. And instead of just, if you run that, you have to take the snap and instantly dig your feet into the ground and go forward, not sidestep. And I think that's how he normally runs quarterback sneaks, not the tush push deal. And I don't know. And the Bills have not been, like, I've seen the Bills, they haven't done, he snuck the ball out this year, run it downhill, but they haven't done that variation of it much, I don't think. Maybe the last couple weeks.
It looked different.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It
definitely looked different. I don't know what it was. The specific one that looked different to start was, like, I haven't seen them really. They showed a stat, like they flashed a stat of how good the Bills had been this year in third. It was like third and fourth and short. It was like very, very high percentage, because they normally do run either some sort of sneak or Josh Allen downhill from the shotgun. But I agree, it was completely different, and you saw it. The first time you saw it be different was the
2-point conversion.
The 2-point conversion, where they took a point off the board because of a penalty, and they tried to run that from the 1-yard line. And Josh did the thing you're talking about, where he stepped to the left and basically didn't even get close to it. And it was like, what was that? And then they kept doing it, and they kept doing it and kept doing it, and it made no sense. I don't get it. And I agree, they didn't use 2 men, and they'd have like James Cook would be in on that play. He'd be the one. He's like 185 pounds. He's the one pushing Josh Allen. Like, if you watch the Eagles, Goddard and their other big dudes are the ones who go behind and push.
Yeah, it should be tight ends.
It should be tight ends. Yeah. It should be your bigger guys who can dig their feet in the ground and push. It just, I don't know why they kept running that, and I don't think anybody had stopped Josh Allen downhill. Once you get him from the shotgun, that's probably what they should have run.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, and then the back to the James Cook thing real quick. People forget this, that on that last drive, not the last drive, the biggest drive, the one where the refs, and we'll talk about it, completely screwed the Bills. But it was second, that series that they didn't convert was 2nd down and 2. 2nd down and 2, and they took James Cook out of the game and handed the ball to Ray Davis, and he fumbled the ball. It was an easy first down on 2nd and 2, and they handed it to Ray Davis. He fumbled and gained only 1 yard or 2 yards, I believe, and they didn't get a first down. That was the series they didn't get a first down on. And it was like, what in the world are we doing? Like, they're putting Ray Davis in the fourth quarter. The start of the last drive when the Bills were ahead. When the Bills were behind 3, it was 32-29, the last drive the Bills had. The first play of the drive off the bench, James Cook was not in the game, and they ran a toss to Ty Johnson and lost 3 yards. And then Josh Allen had to save him on a scramble on 2nd and 14.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, what are we doing? Start of the drive, toss to Ty Johnson when James Cook is carrying for, his bad carries yesterday were 4 yards. He was unbelievable yesterday. And I don't know how many. I know he only had 4 touches in the first half. I'm not looking at the box score. We'll get into it here in a minute. But it wasn't enough. He didn't have enough touches at all.
Yeah.
Anyway,
near enough.
My Brookie of the Week is going to go to, it's going to be from my Commodores, Jason Edwards. Okay.
You quit calling him your Commodore.
My
Bailey's
Commodores.
squirming over there. He's had 20 years of pain and suffering that he can remember.
North Texas transfer, Jason Edwards. He actually is a G, man. He's a microwave. Leading scorer on the team, over 17 a game, shooting nearly 40% from 3. He doesn't do a ton else besides score in the box score, but he had 18 against Kentucky, led Vandy to their second win over a top 10 team in the past week, like we talked about. They're 16-4. They're 4-3. They're going to be ranked in the top 25 if they're not already this week. Are they?
Oh,
okay. Bailey says that
since we're a big women's basketball show,
Bailey says
maybe
that,
the biggest in the world.
Yeah, that we
Some
should
would
be.
say.
We got to give love to Vanderbilt women because they're now ranked too. They beat Tennessee last week as well. So shout out to the Vanderbilt women's basketball team. I can't believe I'm saying that on air, but I am.
Shout out.
But anyway, yeah, Jason Edwards just goes my Brookie of the Week. Like you said, there wasn't a lot out there this week. I had James Cook on the list. I thought about going with Russell Westbrook, but I went
Westbrook.
with he's been balling. But I went with I decided to go with Jason Edwards. Okay, let's move on here. We're gonna get in. Let's jump into the topics of the day, and it's the Bills and the Chiefs. We'll just start there. We were already talking about it just now. Obviously, everybody knows what happened if you're watching the show. Once again, for the 4th time in the playoffs, Josh Allen falls to Patrick Mahomes. The Bills lose to the Chiefs again in the playoffs. This time to go to the Super Bowl. It's the 4th time they've played, and all 4 have gone to the Chiefs. It was the 3rd time they faced each other, I believe, in Arrowhead. This was probably the 2nd toughest one because the one where it was even though it was only the divisional round, the one where they were up 3 with 13 seconds to go, that was probably
that was
tougher.
the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, no, it was the divisional round because
when they lost in overtime?
Yeah, the Chiefs lost the next game to the Bengals in overtime in the AFC Championship game.
Dang,
yeah,
that's crazy.
That was a divisional round.
Was a divisional one.
Yeah.
So they've lost 3 times in the AFC Championship though to them, right? Or is it 2-2?
No, because last year was the divisional round, I believe.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, so most of them are divisional. I mean, okay.
Yeah, because last year the Chiefs beat the Ravens in the AFC Championship game, so that had to be the divisional last year. So yeah, it's 2-2, 2-2. They lost 2 in the AFC. The first time they lost in the championship game, though, in terms of like how close they were, the first time they lost in the AFC Championship game to the Chiefs, it wasn't a close game at all. They got blown out. So this was the closest they've been to a Super Bowl in a long time. Look, there's a lot of ways we can go to talk about this. We'll talk about all these things. We kind of talked already about the James Cook deal and some of the coaching decisions. I want to talk about Sean McDermott, but I think we have to talk about the officiating to start. People are just frustrated. I'm frustrated watching it. I was talking to my buddy, Stephen Elder last night, and he's pretty unbiased guy in terms of that type of stuff. And he was like, yeah, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, I don't even know it's just so frustrating. It's like, okay, at what point do we, like, there's nothing you can do, obviously, but it's just like, man, okay, we're talking about, and there was a lot of different things in that game that I think were poorly officiated, but specifically the call that, in my opinion, determined the legitimate outcome of the game or at least influenced the probability of who won the game, was obviously the 4th down and inches quarterback sneak by Josh Allen. There's, they run the play, and the Bills, look, I mentioned this to you when we were watching live. The play before it was 3rd and 3. They threw the ball out to Dalton Kinkaid. He's tackled basically on the first down line, and the official marks him short. Now, I immediately said I thought it was a first down. I went back and replayed it. It's extremely close. I think it was a first down, but the fact that Sean McDermott had them, and look, this could have been Joe Brady saying go quick, right, in Josh's ear, but McDermott's the head coach. If you don't want them to go quick, you tell your offensive coordinator or whatever, you jump in the heads. I don't know how that works, or you call timeout, or you have plenty of ways you can stop the game there, right? You can throw your fucking challenge flag. You can call timeout. You can do whatever. The fact that he allowed them to go quick when it was as close as it was is ridiculous. So, they don't challenge it. They go quick. They run the bullshit little quarterback sneak we were talking about. And still, from live look, I was like, no, he got it. And you see the top official running in. He's about a half yard past the first down marker, marking it as a first down. And then the guy on the backside runs in like about a foot short of the line. You see him run into a Kansas City Chiefs player. They're yelling at him like he didn't get it. And you just see him basically guess where it was and say it was short. And that's the spot we go with, because on review, they say stands. And when you look at the replay, what's so ridiculous is there is a legitimate shot down the line. Down the fucking line, there's a shot. And Josh Allen is short by an inch. And the next frame, he goes forward. And any like in a court of law, that would be like proof, right? That'd be evidence that he got a first down. I mean, if you use, if I'm in this spot and I move forward and I can no longer see the ball, but I know it's there by the transitive that's a first down, okay? And Chris Jones's helmet is blocking our vision of the actual ball, but he's clearly past the line. Gene Steratore came in and said, I had the ball a foot past the line. And we say stands on the field with an official completely guessing when we have all this technology that we could have. And you said it during the game. You could just not make a ruling.
Yeah, you don't make a ruling.
And you could just go to the monitor and say, what's the most likely outcome? But to determine it on this one official who clearly had a bias and give it to Kansas City, as always, and for the game to come down to that, and you can say what you want, what happened after that. If the Bills score a touchdown there, which it looked like they were going to do, and they're going to run the clock down, they're going to win the game almost certainly, because they're going to be up 8. Kansas City's going to have to score at least once, if not twice. And even if they score and get the 2, Buffalo's got the ball in the final possession. And the Chiefs aren't able to just all out blitz there at that point, because they don't care it's a completely different situation when it's a tie game.
Yeah, I think it's a super easy fix. It doesn't matter if it's close and you're determining it's less than a yard away and you have one guy who has it marked for a first down and another guy has it marked short. You stop the clock and say, the previous play is under further review to check the spot of the ball. There's no need to make a call on the field there for a first down right there. If it's going to get reviewed either way. If one guy's above the line and one guy's underneath it, you just review it. It's the same thing in basketball where they don't know it went off anybody. They say jump ball, review it. And then you just go to review and you try to make the most logical call. Because if it wasn't short on the field, obviously they would have given them first down. But with the way the rules are now, which are ridiculous, this will get this rule changed, just like the overtime rules got changed after they lost to them in overtime. This is going to get another Chiefs rule. This is going to get how first downs are reviewed changed. I guarantee you in the offseason. Absolutely. Because it's just too big of a call. I mean, everybody that's an owner that looks at that as like, other officiating, Gene came in and said, looks like a first down to me. But the official on the field, his job, whether there's bias or not, which I think there probably is. I mean, I think they want the Chiefs in Super Bowl.
At some point, you have to. Yeah. It's got to be true.
Yeah. But I'm just saying for him,
I see.
For the official, if he's in there looking at it, it's like, look, I think he got the first down too. I think you should be able to piece the stuff together. Like you said, I get that part of it too. But if you're the official, when you absolutely could not see the ball, do I absolutely think the ball went past the first down marker? Yes, I think he did too. He looked like he was sick when he came out of the review because he's like, knows what the talking points are going to be tomorrow, where it's like, oh, the refs give the Chiefs official. But for him, he's like, I can't see the fucking ball. Now, I think it's a first down, but he marked it short on the field, so what do? And I mean, if he had to explain that to the Chiefs, or the Chiefs ownership after the game, he was like, how could you change that call? I was like, well, I was just, it looks like he paid a pass first down. But there is no, the letter of the law is video proof that undoubtedly changes the call on the field. And as much as I think that's there, I mean, he can't see it with his own two eyes. He's making a judgment call, and that's why they have to change the rule. It's stupid. I mean, it's dumb.
I agree with everything you said. However, I would argue this. There is so much inconsistency across how those things are called. We watch an interception in the end zone in the first round of the playoffs with the Chargers and the Texans that was, to me, looked more obvious that it called an interception on the field. Way more obvious than this get overturned to an incomplete pass in the Texans-Chargers game in the very first round of the playoffs. So there is no consistency. I don't know who makes that call. Is it the guy on the field? Because to me, if that's the Chiefs, if the roles are reversed, that is overturned.
Oh, it certainly could be.
With the same crew.
Well, we talk about that all the time, though. It's the same thing with, and like I said, the bias, it's hard to argue that there is no bias there, right? Obviously, at this point, it looks like there is. So it's like, goes back to the same thing we talked about, that Miami-Virginia Tech deal, where it's like, they're looking at it, and it's like, I mean, it's one of those deals where it's like, it was called an interception on a field, right? It's like, how on earth do you overturn that unless you just want to overturn it? Now, you can look at it and logically, like almost like this one, say, well, he got the first down, but you're kind of guessing on it. And that one in the Miami game, it was like the guy, did the ball probably hit the ground? Yeah, but there's nothing to overturn it, right? So it's just like, I agree with you. I definitely think there is bias in it at this point. I mean, it's hard to, it's almost impossible not to argue that there's bias. I mean, I don't know. What was the final penalty count in the game?
I'll have to look, but they ended up throwing some late on the Chiefs to make it look better. But for a while, it was very lopsided. But here's what I'll say about while you look at that, here's what I'll say about it. About the thing you're saying, like, I don't know. Here's what I don't understand. What governs what is indisputable video evidence? Because to me, if I'm looking at a shot, like that shot, from our understanding, was straight down the line, correct? That was straight down the line of the first down line, wasn't it? The one where the ball was blocked. Yeah. Straight down the line, right? Okay. So if I'm holding think about this. If I'm holding my phone right here and I can see it, and I know if I now can't see my phone, but my hand is under the table. Right. It's 100% that my phone is under the table, right? Yeah. But I can't see it. It's the same thing, is it not? The football was here. We lose sight of it, and it moves forward. The guy standing here doesn't move. So the only way, so to me, it is indisputable whether you can see the ball or not, because you know the ball is there because it went forward, and there's no other way for it to go. It's just like, to me, that is indisputable. And I think to everybody watching, it's indisputable. So what is the rule? I'd love to see the rule in the NFL rulebook that says, well, if you can't see the ball, you can't overturn it. It's not that. It's indisputable video evidence, and they say, well, we can't see the ball, so we're not sure. But you are sure. You can see it. And that's why I think there is a bias, because there's so much there's no objectivity in this, right? Whoever the crew is making the call makes the decision. I don't know if he was irritated that he had to make the call. They easily, in my opinion, could have overturned that, and nobody but Chiefs fans would have been saying anything. Nobody would have said that it was a bad call. He clearly got the first down, and everybody in that building knew it, and everybody watching the game knew it, and they screwed the Bills, and we don't get to see what would have happened otherwise because they did that. Instead of just letting the guys play the game and dictate the outcome of the game, the officials once again dictate the outcome of the game. It happened to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl against the Eagles, the last play of the game. The Eagles get a stop, hold them to a field goal, gonna get the ball back. They throw a bullshit defensive holding penalty, give them a first down. Every single subjective call goes their way.
I agree with that. I'm certainly not arguing that.
The Bengals in the AFC Championship game, the late hit out of bounds. I mean, it's like, you name it, they get the break. Yeah, and you better believe, if you're an Eagles fan, you better believe they're going to get every break in the Super Bowl. Okay, they're going to. And I'm rooting for the Eagles, and I'm a Cowboys fan. That's how much I can't stand Mahomes, and I can't stand the Chiefs. And it's so frustrating to watch them act like they're this greatest team ever when they've been gifted all the, like, to me, I'm done with the Chiefs. I don't even think, I don't, this is like the most fraudulent run I've ever seen in my entire life. It really is.
I mean, they're a good football team. They obviously get all the benefits of the calls. The one thing I'll say, too, that I don't understand, and so we have that sky cam, obviously, that shoots things 11 from behind. Why would you not, like, for plays like that, when you know, like, it's 4th and 1, come right over the top of the line of scrimmage with the sky cam, so you have that look, like the above look from like down the line on the line of scrimmage. I don't know if that's, I'm not a camera guy, so I don't know if that's possible, but I would assume it is.
It absolutely
like
is.
It's 4th and 1. I don't, we don't need to see we don't need on that play. We don't near 3rd and 1. We don't need to see the behind, the 11v11 camp. We just need to see, the line to gain. Because if the camera was right above it, you would be able to see exactly where the ball was. Like, it's just like down the line. Yeah. Obviously, it can be blocked, right? So that's why I don't know why they don't do that on short yardage situations. But it's just like, to me, when I saw the one down the line look, I was like, is that the only down the line look they have? And obviously with the pylon cam, it's good for like, seeing some things, but obviously stuff gets blocked too. But they have those on the first down markers. But the one we were looking at was the actual, like, game camera, like, just down. He was on the line,
right,
coming down, looking at it, and just there's a head blocking the ball, which I agree. I mean, I think without a benefit of the doubt, you can see that he got the first down. But yeah, I just don't understand how, like people keep saying, billion upon $1 billion league, and this we still have some guy running in from the sideline, zigzagging, players stopping them and then marking the ball to decide the game. Like,
it's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
We have all this technology. I agree. Like you said, with marking the ball, you said it during the game we were watching it. They have all this technology in soccer to mark the ball with offsides, the VAR and all that shit, all this technology. And I remember hearing this bullshit 2 years ago that we're going to have automatic marking of the balls, right? And where did that go? It just went away. Like, because Roger Goodell and the officials, and you can say this is conspiracy theory, lose their control over the game. They do. If you take away officials marking the ball and you take away all that stuff, and you can review penalties like we talk about, review whether it was a face mask, a clear face mask, review whether it was this or that, right? Then you take away the control of the game by the officials. That's what it feels like to me. Because why else are we not doing this in this billion? If the whole goal is to get it right, and we're going to use all these cameras and all this money and all this stuff, why are we going to be archaic in how we decide these things? Why do we have a guy running in to mark the ball?
And the one thing, too, that I'll say is, at this point, it's gotten to the point in the conversation where it's like, most of the time it's fans complaining about this, and the official, the Houston Texans all said the exact same thing we were saying. Like, every single one of them was like, yeah, we knew coming in here it was going to be us versus everybody. Us first, and everybody got tons of fines, but it was like, it's true. I mean, like, all the hits, every little time Mahomes gets hurt, he gets a flag. I mean, it's just, it's, I've never been in the camp necessarily that it's like influenced either way, but at this point, it's certainly, I mean, it's just hard year after year after year of them getting call after call after call, that there isn't some sort of, some kind of home cooking going on for the Chiefs in the NFL legal office. It just doesn't, you would think they would have to be on the wrong side of a call at least once over the years, right? I can't think of one. I'm sure a Chiefs fan could come up with one, but I can't really think of one that there was in those big moments for the Chiefs where something really went against them.
The only time that it ever call went against them was in the regular season. And it wasn't a bad call. Like, it wasn't a bad call.
Was he lined up off sides?
Yeah, it was the one where not Sky Moore. Who's
Tony?
The dumbass? Yeah, Kadarius Toney. Our boy Kadarius Toney was lined up like a full yard off sides, and they threw the flag immediately before anything happened. Yeah. And then they ended up scoring on the Travis Kelce lateral. And the only reason it was like a big deal is because they scored on that lateral on the play. And it was like a crazy play to win the game. And oddly enough, that game was against the Bills. And funny enough, it was in Arrowhead. And after the game, this is what bothers me about Mahomes. in the handshake line, Josh went up to give him a handshake, and Mahomes didn't say good game. He didn't say congratulations, anything. He goes, fucking bullshit. They decided the game on that shit, and high-fived him and walked past him. And then last night when they win, he's like, all glory to God. I just want to say without God, I wouldn't be here. Like, honestly, go fuck yourself. He is the most two-faced motherfucker. And I know you like Mahomes. I don't care. He is so annoying that he gets all this bullshit, all these bullshit calls, and he just acts like he just walks on fucking water, and he's like, he thinks he's fucking Jesus Christ himself. I swear to you, man. I'm so tired of him. And maybe I'm biased, and I definitely am biased. But I don't give a fuck. I'm so tired of this. I'm not even a Bills fan. I'm not even a Bills fan. I like Josh Allen, and I hate the Chiefs. What?
I said I just love the Bills.
I like the Bills, but I'm not like diehard Bills fan or anything. I don't really give a shit.
But I mean,
it's just I'm tired of seeing bullshit. I would say the same thing. I would say the same thing if this happened to the Chiefs. I would say I'm glad it happened, right? I'd be like, well, fuck them. I'm glad it happened.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't have happened. It's bullshit. But that's not, everybody knows. It's just the same way, like every time. They're never on the wrong side of this.
And the problem too is, and we'll wrap this up, is like when you look at the stats of this game, it's a stat-wise, it's a dead even game.
Yep.
So it's like when you do have those 1-2 calls going against the Bills, that's why they lose by 3 points, right? I mean, it really is. I mean, that's what's so, if, the Chiefs are winning by 7 or 10, it's one thing. I mean, it's a 3-point game. The Bills even had a chance late to win it. I mean, Spagnuolo had an awesome blitz there that he saved for that exact moment. Worked fantastic. But
I want to talk about that play real quick.
When you look at it, I mean, it's like 374 to 368. I mean, it's just yards per play, 5.5 to 5.8. It's just a dead even game.
Oh, it's dead even.
So when you get those calls, it helps a lot.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's dead even, and
it goes from being a 50-50 game to a 60-40 game.
No, 100%, and that was the difference in the game. If you want to be honest, I mean, I wonder what. I'm not looking at it, but I'm sure when it was 1st and 10 on that series, and they're up by 1 with the ball in Chiefs territory, the Bills had a win probability above 65%.
It was like, I looked at it, it was like 64 or something. Yeah, I was right about that.
There you go, 64%.
Gruden made a good point about it too yesterday, talking about. He's like, look, he goes, the calls, they could, fishy. He can't really sit. He's trying to get a job.
Sure.
But he was like, if you're the Buffalo Bills and you're on the road, you have to know you're not going to get, doesn't matter who you're playing, you're not going to get the benefit of a spot most of the time. And he goes, hey, they have no one to blame. He goes, the tush push was like a disaster. Hand the ball. You're the best offensive line.
Yeah.
One of the best offensive line in the league. Hand the ball off to James Cook, or have Josh Allen run it on a design run that he's more comfortable with, because they had no idea what they were doing on that tush push sneak, and it was just a disaster. So.
No, it really was. I mean, and you look at it, James Cook, dude, had 13 carries. That's all he got. 13 carries for 85 yards, 6.5 yards per carry. Never touched the ball late in the game. Like, when they had those drives, when they were moving the ball the best, they were down 2 scores at halftime, correct? Was it 21 or no, they were down 21-16. 21, was that right? Yeah, 21-16. But the drive before they scored a touchdown, and the drive right at the end of right coming out of halftime, what they do? They ran the ball to James Cook, and they kept running the ball to James Cook.
Yeah, they ran it like 9 straight times.
Yep,
that drive.
and they scored a touchdown because he was running right down their throat. Last thing I want to mention on this game, on that last play when the blitz with Spagnuolo, that last series, as the Bills had the ball back with a chance to go win this. And you're right. You have no one to blame but yourself in that situation. It's like, okay, you had the ball, go win the game. Like, if that's Mahomes, he's probably going to go win the game. Now,
craziest stat, and I know you're going to talk about the play. I heard it was Trey Wingo on a podcast talking to someone, and this is a crazy stat. I wish I could find the clip. Since 2001, there's been like 120 something drives with a minute left in the game, with a quarterback needing points to either tie it or win it. And in those 1 minute drives, Tom Brady got points 5 out of 11 times. Drew Brees got points. You're just talking about like great quarterbacks. Drew Brees, usually it's like 35% of the time you get the points. Drew Brees got him 3 out of 6 times. Patrick Mahomes is 7 for 7.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Points.
It's
insane.
It's insane.
He says, you want me to bet against that guy? Yeah, not going to do it. And with the help of the officials, is like, no, it's okay.
Yeah,
I think I'll go with that
incredible.
guy.
There's no denying.
7. I mean, now listen, I'm sure there's a couple calls there that went their way, obviously, in those games. But I mean, to be 7 for 7 with under a minute in those drives needing points is insane.
No, it is. That's pretty ridiculous. And look, that you have to say, I mean, as a Bills fan, everything goes against you. You have the game in your hands there still, right?
Yeah.
You have the game in your quarterback, your MVP's hands. But on the last play, it was a great design blitz, corner blitz by Spagnuolo. And I told you this, I texted you this last night, and I know Josh was never looking over there, but the route was for Shakir on an orbit route on the left side. He's wide open. If he throws it to him, it's a first down. That said, he made an incredible play. Once he rolled right, he was never throwing back left. And the throw he made under duress to just get, it was like he literally, you could see him mentally rolling to his right, like, I'm going to try and get out of this, to instantly, like, I'm not getting out of this, to, I need to throw this ball up because it's our last chance. And he literally heaved it, got absolutely leveled, fell on the ground, and it fucking got there. That's what's so frustrating about all this is you can't, you really, like, I understand Mahomes also is 7 for 7 on those drives. No one ever drops a pass from him. No one ever makes a mistake. I mean, I'm not saying that's against Mahomes. I'm just saying, like, Josh Allen can't ever catch a break, dude. Like, he got the ball there to a guy who is your better catching tight end. You have to make that catch.
Yeah.
I mean, you just have, it was like the Mark Andrews moment, kind of. Obviously, it was a little bit tougher catch than Andrews' catch, but you have to make that catch.
He'd be the first one to tell you he needed to catch it. It was a little bit tougher than the Andrews catch, obviously, but yeah, it was an incredible play by Allen. Most quarterbacks just get sacked there and the game's over, but he had at least, the presence of mind. He's like, I'm just going to take a hit, but yeah, you just jackpot that thing up. And that just shows his arm talent that he was able to get it out there to him. And Kinkaid had to come back for it. Should have caught it. Sucks that he didn't. But yeah, that was a hell of a play by Allen. Like you said, Mahomes in those situations, someone always makes a catch for him. So like Kelsey's coming back and catching that ball or whoever it is.
Yeah.
So
I think they said it was the first time that in NFL history that a quarterback beat another quarterback 4 consecutive times. I think that's like Mahomes beating Allen in the playoffs. Yeah, I think so. I think I saw that stat. Last question here, and we'll move on to the other game. Do you think the Bills... What do the Bills do from here? Where do the Bills go from here? Do
they just go get receivers?
So, but in terms of staff, they're obviously retaining Joe Brady, and I know you're gonna say you can't fire McDermott, but at what point? Because to me, if you look at it, this Chiefs offense had been doing nothing for weeks, including last week against the Houston Texans, and I know they were coming off that rest. They had 212 yards last week against the Houston Texans defense. This Bills defense gave up 368 yards and almost 6 yards per play, and every big moment could not get a stop. Literally, we were watching the game like, dude, they're never going to get, like, the only way they can get a stop is a turnover. Now, they ended up forcing, I think, one actual punt in the game. I don't even remember if there was a punt, but it was so, the fourth down early in the game, 4th and 1, they go for on their own 38-yard line. There was the rollout to Mahomes on 4th down and goal or 2nd and goal inside there. He did the exact same thing where he rolls out. No one's there. It's just the same way they get beat every single year, and it seems to be McDermott's fault every single year, and he seems to make a bad decision that not challenging the Dalton Kinkaid, or at least looking at it and having him go quick and sneak the ball. It seems he always makes a mistake. Can you possibly fathom them letting him go?
No, they're not going to. But I get the frustration where it's coming from. My thing with it is when you, in my opinion, look, Andy Reid's probably a top 3 coach ever.
Yeah, he is.
Patrick Mahomes is, I love Josh Allen, but Patrick Mahomes over the course of his career has been better than him.
Yeah.
He's playing with a Hall of Fame tight end, and the Chiefs' defense is better. I just don't know what. I agree that Sean McDermott hasn't been great in those games, but they're underdogs in the games every single time, right? You'd want them to beat. You would want him to beat.
Well, they were favored last. They were favored last year at home.
Yeah. So that's the one that were the real one that they have to win. But to me, it's just, are you going to fire a guy who's losing to the 3rd best coach and maybe you can make an argument that if he wins the Super Bowl this year, it's top 2 quarterback in history. I get
it, but it's just every single time.
It's a good argument either way. I just don't. You're the Buffalo Bills and you were shitty forever, and obviously that has nothing, in my opinion, it doesn't have anything to do with McDermott. Obviously, it's Josh Allen and the rest of the team. But his defense, especially losing Benford, losing him.
Christian Benford.
That was that secondary. The guys were just wide open. I don't know what he could have done Guess he could have tried to play more zone, bring more zone blitzes. I don't know. But it's just, they're just out. That defense is just not very good. And some of it may be him calling the defense, right? I'm not too sure. But, obviously it's not going out on a limb. They're going to keep him. But, that's what that Buffalo Bill caller said the other day. I mean, what do we do about it? Because we always get here and lose. We can't get over the hump with him as our coach. But then again, it's, you're not losing to Joe Schmo. You're losing to Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
I agree, but I think I understand, and I don't think they will fire him. And I'm not saying I would. I'm not saying 100% I would. I'm just saying if your goal is to win a Super Bowl, if that's the ultimate goal, and he consistently comes up short in that endeavor, regardless of who they play. They haven't lost to only the Chiefs. Like, they have lost to them the majority of the time, 4 times. They lost to the Bengals one year. They lost to the Texans in overtime and Deshaun Watson early in Allen's career. So they've lost to other teams. And it's like, at what point do you say, like, I think about, and I'm not comparing Michael Jordan to Josh Allen, but you think about Michael Jordan, they kept getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they fired Doug Collins because he couldn't get over the hump, and they hired Phil Jackson and went and won 6 championships. So obviously that's a storybook ending. But I'm just saying, at what point, at some point, like if this happens again next year, you're gonna start to really hear it. I think, because then it's just like, all right, like because I get it, they're underdogs in a lot of games. They're not big underdogs, right?
No.
Like they're 2-point dogs. Where 4 times. Can you win one fucking time last year at home against them when their worst version of the team in years? Like this year where the offense couldn't move the ball and you can't get a fucking stop the whole game. I mean, they really should have lost to the Ravens, if we're being honest, because of the defense. And I get it. They're beat up. I understand. I don't know. That's just my take on it. But
no, I think it's fair either way. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong answer there. Obviously, they're not going to fire him, but sure. I just don't. Yeah, I don't know who, then the question is, okay, well, then who are we going to go get that's going to be infinitely better than him, I mean, if you're going to go get Bill Belichick, well, then, okay, maybe he would get you over the hump,
I don't
even
know.
at that age, I have no idea.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know who you go get. Like, there's not a ton of guys out there.
Yeah. I mean, if you had Phil Jackson laying around,
No, I agree.
Like, of course.
Sure. Let's move on. Eagles Commanders was our other championship game. It wasn't nearly as entertaining. We watched that first.
It's a shame.
It was a shame. We were rooting for the Commanders, but look, the officiating was somewhat lopsided here too. But we're not going to get into that.
Oh yeah, no, it's just this one was easy.
This one was easy.
4 turnovers.
4 turnovers.
I think he dropped the ball.
Wait, did it end up being 5 at the end or no?
No, it was 4.
Okay.
It was 3 fumbles lost and then that pick.
But
yeah, I mean, they, when you look at it, obviously the Eagles are doing whatever they wanted on offense. Commanders' defense is really bad. But the Commanders, 30 seconds left in the third quarter, crossing midfield, 1st and 10 down 11. They had already come back from 2 scores to beat them earlier in the year. And I was yelling there. I think you were in the 30 seconds. I was like, just hand the ball off and take it to the fourth quarter. Get 4 or 5 yards. You have 4 downs to get every first down at this point, unless you want to kick a short field goal when you get down there to get it to 8. Throw it out. Austin Eckler falls down. It's a horrible idea to get up, especially when you're not facing the right direction.
Yep.
Tries to get up, loses the ball. All hell breaks loose and end up losing by what?
They lost by 32.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it's an 11-point game. Eagles put 3 more touchdowns on the board. I mean, it was as simple as that. Eagles played really good. Look, they're a better team. The defense is infinitely better. Daniels didn't even really play bad game.
Dude, he had an 83.7 QBR.
Yeah. I mean, he was fine and ran it well.
I actually thought he did run well. I thought he actually played really well. He was their leading rusher. Well, he had 48 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, it's just that the recipe for success with that team in my mind is not him throwing the ball 48 times. Obviously, they had to fell behind in the game. Eagles had their recipe going. I mean, Jalen Hurts threw it 28 times. Probably could even thrown it less, but he's 20 for 28. Barkley had that one huge carry. Other than that, they actually did an okay job stopping. Because that one touchdown was what? How many yards?
60.
Yeah. They held him to
and
on
Will
14
Shipley,
carries for 60.
Will Shipley had a 57-yard run at the end of the game. One. So those 2 runs right there were what, 130 or 117 of their 229.
Yeah. And then the secondary just couldn't hold up against
I mean, the defense of Washington has to address their defense and going forward. Like their defense is
they're really bad too. They're pretty good at bending but not breaking. They have been throughout the course of the year. I think that's how they'd get away with winning games. But like everybody would move the ball on them. So
no, yeah, they basically needed to. I mean, they basically needed to create a turn. Like if they didn't create a turnover in this game, they almost weren't going to get a stop. They actually weirdly like had a couple of timely stops. Like I forget when it was, but
right out of halftime, they got a sack and forced a punt. They went 3 and out. That was just a killer.
And then it was actually so they went 3 and out. But then the Eagles went down and scored a touchdown in like 4 plays, and they go up 34-15, and we're like, okay, the game's over. Well, Washington answers with a touchdown of their own. And then on the next drive, they forced a punt and got the ball back, and that was when it was 34-23, and that was the one you mentioned with Austin Eckler fumbling the ball, which, by the way, why is Austin Eckler in the fucking game at all right there? Like, what are you doing, man?
He's a pass catching option.
I get it, but, I mean, it's just, guy is so bad, and he's fumbled multiple times
Then you had
year.
McNichols fumble the fucking kick. I mean, that was just, they just...
The McNichols fumble, I thought...
Comedy of errors.
No, it's comedy of errors. I mean, De'Ami Brown fumbled early in the game. Like literally every fumble was at a key moment. Obviously, every moment's a key moment in this type of game, but every fumble was a key moment. I mean, I really thought the Commanders, and I said this when I broke down this game, I thought they were going to have some success offensively. They did. I mean, they weren't bad offensively. Their defense just literally could not get a stop. Yeah. I mean, they put up 350 yards of total offense. They were 7 of 17 on third down, 4 of 6 on fourth down. They had 22 first downs. But again, their offense, they couldn't run the ball besides Jayden Daniels. That's been their problem all year. I don't know. I'm not sure that this Washington team, I don't know what they're going to be going forward. Obviously, this was kind of like a very early, this run wasn't expected to happen, especially not this early. That said, Jayden Daniels looks like, and I said this to you, I don't know if I said it on the podcast. I think I said it to you yesterday. To me, right now, he looks like the 5th best quarterback in the NFL. You have Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. And after that, I can't tell you another quarterback I would take over him right now. Not for like future, obviously for future, but for one game. Like, I don't know if there's another quarterback I would say, you know what, I want that guy over him right now besides those 4 guys. He's been that good. He was good in this game against one of the better defenses in the NFL on the road. He won his first 2 playoff road starts, first quarterback in NFL history to do that. So, it can't be mad as a Commanders fan.
Great
outcome.
season for them. I don't think they expected to be anywhere near there. So
okay, quickly going forward, Eagles taking on the Chiefs. It's a rematch of 2 years ago, I believe. Was it 2 years ago? Yeah. Does this one end any differently? Let's just do a quick take on the game, on the matchup. What are your thoughts? I think the Chiefs opened as a 1.5 point favorite. That's what I saw, and I think the total was around 45.5. That was the look ahead line, at least. I didn't.
Man, the Eagles have looked good and they've run the ball. I mean, the Chiefs are pretty decent against the run. What are they?
They didn't
middle of the
sure
road.
Weren't great yesterday against the Bills. They're okay.
Yeah.
Spagnuolo will have a good game plan.
Man, that's the thing, dude. You give Andy Reid and Spagnuolo 2 weeks against Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. I mean, I guess on paper, if you really look at it, you'd probably say that Eagles are maybe a little bit better team. But we know that Super Bowls are won and lost at the quarterback position, really, and it's like,
Jalen Hurts
I don't
is
know
not
how
a top 15 quarterback.
I don't
in the
know
NFL.
how you. Like, going into this game, I think Vegas is going to have a lot of problems with, like, everybody being on the Chiefs.
100%.
I understand why the line's that way. I would be shocked if, like, I really would. I know that there'll be buyback, whatever, but it's like, if the Chiefs aren't favored by 3 by kick, I would just be surprised. I think it's going to get like right there. I mean, I don't think it's ever getting higher than that, but it's just, I think there's going to be so many people on the Chiefs at 2 and 2.5, and it's like, it's going to have to get to a field goal to have any kind of shot of people taking the Eagles.
It's going to be really interesting because I agree. I just don't know how you get any balance on this game at this number, and I really don't even know if you made it 3. That's the problem here, is if you made this 2, like if it goes to 2, if it goes to 2.5, if it gets to 3, and we know that this market is so sophisticated that that's a hard thing to do, to bust through 3 when a game opens 1.5. But like, I mean, if you get even at 3, I think they're going to have most of. I would say 80% of the tickets at 3. Now you're going to see some professional buyback if it gets to Eagles +3. That's the problem. And so you have such big money coming in on this game. I don't know. It's a very the market and the line here is a fascinating discussion because I agree. I don't know what is going to happen here. They're going to have to make a lot of money back on props and the total because
which they always do. Because they'll make that -115 on all those or whatever.
Sure, but I just oh wow, the total actually opened a lot higher. I guess the look ahead was 45.5. If this was the matchup, it's 49.5. They're going to get some over money from the public, and I think this could be lower scoring game. Regardless, yeah, man, I look. I mean, as a guy who has done this for a long time, I'm never taking the Eagles in this spot. Like, if I was betting this, if I was giving this out, it's Chiefs or pass for me. How could you ever bet against them the way they get the calls?
Yeah, I mean,
and the way they play.
The way they get the calls, and then it's just Patrick Mahomes. I mean,
no, Mahomes is great.
I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce in a Super Bowl. And I know the Eagles. Like I said, listen, the Eagles defense is good. It's a young defense. They're good, but they're young. And it's just like Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid with 2 weeks against those guys. I think they'll have a pretty good game plan. I don't know what it's going to be, but I have a feeling they'll out-scheme Nick Sirianni and Kellen Moore.
They will. They absolutely will.
I mean, it's like, listen, the quarterback matchup, huge. Coaching matchup, just as big. I mean, like those Andy Reid and
the difference.
So, the difference compared to him and Sirianni. I mean, it's just night and day. So, I mean, I get that on paper the teams are pretty even, but I mean, that's what they're looking at. But I don't know what they're going to do because I think 80% of the people are going to be on the Chiefs.
No, I completely agree. It might even be higher than that, dude. I mean, this is kind of a weird Super Bowl to me. And I will also say this: if you look back at the last Super Bowl between these two, that one, to me, it felt like, okay, this is Patrick Mahomes versus the Eagles, where it's like Patrick Mahomes is going to have to be perfect and great to beat the Eagles because they're so talented and so good. I don't think that's nearly the case this time. I think the Chiefs team in general is probably just as good or playing just as good as the Eagles are. And I just think they're so one-dimensional that, dude, like think about the defenses the Eagles have faced in these playoffs.
Yeah, the Chiefs have the corners that can actually play man to man.
And so it's what do you do if you get bottled up? Because really, Washington's defense was horrific, horrible, right? Just absolutely terrible. The Rams, and I know it was icy. The Rams have a bad defense, like below average defense. The Eagles were not, like, besides a couple of explosive runs, that's really all they had. They were just relying on explosive runs. So if they don't hit those big Barkley runs against this Chiefs team, which they really haven't given up those explosive runs, I don't know what they do offensively in this spot. You know, I don't know. I just think, like you said, I think specifically the Jalen Hurts matchup, Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes, like, Jalen Hurts was better 2 years ago than he is now. He's barely running like he was. I know he had that one big run against the Rams, but he's not the same. He's not the same runner. I know he's a little bit banged up. He's a significantly worse thrower. I don't know. The FPI has the Eagles as a 56.1% probability to win. I get it, but
that's why the number's this way. I get
they
that.
Had the Bills 55% to win that game.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just, I know that. And listen, Worthy's playing better. Kelce can turn to, the Bills were just trying to take away Kelce, and they got burned by the receivers. So will be interesting. But yes, you would have to be a nutcase to bet against Andy Reid in Patrick Mahomes when it's basically a pick 'em in the Super Bowl.
Yep. Okay, we're gonna move on here. We're gonna do a quick game. We're gonna do grade the hire. Okay.
Right.
We're going to go through the new coaching hires. So I believe the only team that has yet to hire a coach and has a vacancy is the New Orleans Saints. So that's the only one that has not.
Does that point to the fact that they're going to hire Kellen Moore then? Or what does that point to?
Or we're going to see, we're shooting this at, it's early afternoon on Monday. Last week we got out of here and there was a hire right after the show ended. But so I guess you could see maybe Cliff Kingsbury today. Like if we see something today or tomorrow, Cliff Kingsbury, or they said Joe Brady's not leaving, and I wouldn't touch Joe Brady with a 100-foot pole, but that was a guy everybody thought. You could also say maybe Spagnuolo. That would be the other guy. It'd be if there's no hire today, I think it's going to be Spagnuolo or Kellen Moore, and it's probably more than likely Kellen Moore, which I think would be a disaster. Okay, let's start with number one. This is the most fun one to do. We're going to spend the most time on this one. The Cowboys hire Brian Schottenheimer.
A+. Jerry's a fucking genius. Hey, listen, the fact that you and all these peasants in America argue with the great Jerry Jones, Bailey's giving me a head nod over there, who owns the most well put together, highest valued franchise in sports, America's team, and you're going to sit here on not your you don't have a throne like Jerry and question this decision. It's disgusting. I trust Jerry Jones as a non-Cowboy fan. I think it's
you do?
Fantastic hire.
It's
A++. Jerry's saving a couple bucks. Cocaine and strippers probably. Good for him, man. He probably doesn't have too much money until this team sells. I don't know. May have to be taking out loans, but he's going to save himself a couple million a year hiring this low-budget coach.
They even said the number yet?
He's probably doing it for free. Jerry's worked a deal where it's like $500,000 a win.
That actually wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. They don't win a game. He ain't getting paid a cent. Yeah. He's a Dallas Cowboys football coach.
Yeah, this is one of the crazier hires I've ever seen. I mean, you have a guy who essentially was not interviewed by any other organizations, not even for an offensive coordinator position. He was hired by Stephen Jones, despite the fact that Mike McCarthy did not want him, and he was hired as an offensive analyst assistant and was then promoted to OC when Kellen Moore was let go. And then now, after not calling a single play last year, not doing a damn thing, I don't even know what he did as the offensive coordinator. He is now the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. It's one of the crazier moves I've seen a team make in a long time. Like, I've never seen a team.
Did you expect anything different?
I did. Actually. I didn't expect this.
I didn't. I thought it was either Dion or just like the weirdest fucking hire.
Yeah, but I expected Dion or Kellen Moore, which were both disastrous, but at least you could explain them. Like, oh, he's a former Cowboy and he's coaching in the college level. Or, Kellen Moore, at least they're going to the Super Bowl. Brian fucking Schottenheimer? The only explanation I have for this is this. Hiring Brian Schottenheimer allows Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones to manipulate and do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, 100%.
They then can hire whatever coaches on that staff they want to hire. Jason Witten is a former Dallas Cowboy. He's currently coaching in high school. I believe you're going to see him on the staff this year. And I believe that the plan is if Brian Schottenheimer works, everybody makes fun of Jerry, and Jerry looks like a genius because it worked, which it's never going to work. Or if it doesn't work, in 2 years, they fire him, and Jason Witten is promoted to the Dallas Cowboys head coach. That's what I believe is going to happen. I don't have any factual evidence to back that up.
They could have actually, knowing Jerry, they may have wanted to just make Witten head coach straight from high school this year, and someone was like, hey, you gotta hire someone for at least a year before. Yeah, and that could have been it.
Yep.
Because Jason Witten, I actually do think would be a really good hire for the Cowboys, just because he's
Dan
Cowboy
Campbell.
Hall of Fame, and he's like Dan Campbell Jr., maybe not quite as crazy, which would be good for the Cowboys. Because they're not full blown, rebuild like the Lions were, where you had to have Dan Campbell come in there and
bite kneecaps off.
Yeah, do it. Yep, that's what you got to do. What you got to do. But yeah, I think that could be. I think that's a good theory for sure. It could definitely be something like that. I remember looking. We were talking about the odds on it, and I think Witten was even before someone was hired was 4-1 to get the job. So
yeah, I believe it.
I think that a lot of people thought that Jerry wanted him, so he'll probably come on the staff this year. He probably told him, hey, you have to hire Jason Witten as the tight ends coach, and then you can, make him the head coach, I guess, whenever you want. And if Schottenheimer works out, like you said, Jerry's a genius.
I think that's what he's thinking. I think that's what
you gotta love, Jerry, man.
But he's gone completely senile at this point. Yeah, he did. He's gone completely senile.
He's so good
with this
for
move.
sports, man.
He's so bad for sports, and he's so bad for football and for the Cowboys. It's pathetic. It's disgusting to watch.
Did you see his performance in Landman? Okay, the guy does it all. Not only does he run a football team fantastic, he's should have won a fucking Emmy for that performance on Landman.
Guest star for one scene.
Yep.
He makes me sick. He makes me want to throw up. All right, Las Vegas Raiders hire Pete Carroll.
This one to me makes absolutely zero sense, except maybe they just, to me, this is an absolute placeholder deal. It's like, let's bring Pete Carroll in. He's 73 years old. He's been around the block. People like Pete Carroll. He's a fun guy to play for. He has experience. And then it's like, maybe 2-3 years of Pete, and then they bring in who Tom Brady ultimately wants to be coaching the team. And I don't know who that is, but I just, Pete Carroll at this age, I certainly don't see him doing it for more than 2 to 3 years. But I mean, he's frankly, and I think it's kind of a crazy hire just because of his age, but he's, had success everywhere he's gone. He was great at USC. He did a hell of a job paying kids legally and getting athletes in there, but he and then in Seattle, he did a good job. Big Cat tweeted something funny, but it's a bad day to be a piece of gum in Las Vegas. Old Pete's going to be chomping them on the sideline. But
great. What's your grade?
Grade C.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't give it an F for anything like that. I mean, I just think middle of the road, and it's just one of those deals where I think he's there for 2-3 years until they get, a head coach that they really want in there, and they want, they're going to try to get a quarterback and then get someone in there that's a good offensive mind, get that franchise going. I think Pete Carroll is a good placeholder. That's about all I would say. I mean, I don't like the hire, but if they didn't have anybody that they liked, just go do this and get Pete Carroll for a couple years.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a lot out there at the point that they were at. Like, I don't know who they would have gone.
Yeah, they're never beating the Chiefs, right? They're really never going to be, like, right now, with the way that team is, for the next 2 years, like, they're never winning that division.
No, they're not.
So what does it matter?
No, I agree. I would have given it a B- in the sense that you have a guy who's probably going to come in. Like, if you're just looking at it, okay, how is this going to affect this team? Well, it's a clear upgrade, right? Antonio Pierce to Pete Carroll is a clear upgrade. It is. Clear upgrade. And Pete will come in and compete. That team will compete pretty quickly. The defense will improve. We'll see if they keep Max Crosby, but if they do, that's a good piece for him. We'll see who he brings in at OC. Obviously, Pete's not the biggest offensive guy, but that team will, I think, improve. They'll be middle of the pack over the next couple of years. We'll see who they go.
Yeah.
I mean, they fucked themselves with the 6th pick that they can't really get a quarterback here, so I don't really know what they're going to do. But I will say this. It is a weird hire in the sense that you almost, I get it. You fired Antonio Pierce, so you're going with a better, you're going with a guy, like you said, it's a placeholder. Well, if he is a placeholder and it's just going to be a meaningless couple of years, it's a weird hire in the sense that you're going to be like picking 13, 14, 15. Like, you're going to be 7-10, 6-11. Like, you're not going to be the worst team in the league getting a top draft pick, and you're not going to be competing for a Super Bowl. So you're kind of going to be in limbo with him if he is only there for 2 to 3 years. Like, what really is your goal by hiring him? That's what's confusing to me. So I give the hire a B-, but I don't really understand the point of it if he's not going to be there long term.
That's what I'm saying too. I mean, I don't. Maybe they will keep him there for longer than I thought. I just think. First of all, they have to trade Max Crosby. I know he wants to be a Raider for life, but how old is Max Crosby?
I think he's 30.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he's not. I mean, the point is, you've got to trade him when he has some kind of trade value, and let him, instead of him.
Oh,
being
he's 27. Okay. He's younger.
But that's even in my mind, unless you think you're going to be competing in the next 2 years, then hold on to him. But realistically, they're 3 or 4 years away from competing, I think, unless they get a quarterback that turns into Daniels out there, and then. Who knows? But,
apparently, there's a proposed deal right now for the Packers to go out and get Max Crosby for I think a 2nd and a 3rd round pick or something like that. I feel like you probably get more than that. I know, but I'm just like that. I don't know. I could see them wanting a 1st round pick.
No, they definitely want a 1st round pick for him, for sure.
Okay. Next one, we've got the Jacksonville Jaguars hire Liam Cohen,
first
the
of all,
OC from Tampa Bay.
Biggest mistake ever, firing Doug Peterson, who his big dog has told you people multiple times. He's a Super Bowl winning coach and an author. And a well-respected leader of men. And, he just had a dog shit team around him. couldn't get much done with those guys. Trevor's always fucking hurt. You know, I feel for Dougie. Someone will give him another opportunity soon. Liam Cohen, I'll give it a B-. And I say this, a lot of people like the hire. If you look at the last 4 years of him coaching, he went from like what? Kentucky OC, quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, head coach in a 4-year span?
Well, he went.
Is that right?
Yeah, well, he went from Kentucky to the NFL, then back to Kentucky. It was weird.
Yeah.
So he went Kentucky. He was the OC at Kentucky. He was like so he was with the Rams. He was the wide receivers coach or the quarterbacks coach. Then he went to Kentucky to be the OC. Then he went to the Rams for 1 year to be the OC. Went back to Kentucky to be the OC. Then came to Tampa Bay for 1 year to be the OC, and then got hired as the head coach. So yes, basically in 2020, he was a quarterbacks coach. So in 5 years, he's gone from quarterbacks coach to head coach. All the way back to like 2019, even he was the assistant wide receivers coach. So yes, it's been a quick rise here.
Yeah,
the guy is how old? He's 39 years old.
Yeah, I mean he must be highly. You know, I mean the Bucs offense was fun this year. Obviously they were high flying, running, gunning, but I don't know.
Is it concerning? Is it concerning to you though that he's jumped around so much, and the fact that they hired him basically off of 1 year of success as an OC in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's not making a ton of money. I mean, I'm sure it's like a reasonable, and man, I don't know. Like I said, that's why I give it a B-. Who knows? It could turn out great, right? It could go up in flames.
I'm not saying it's bad.
I really don't know on it. I think time will tell. I don't know what he has there in Jacksonville. I mean, Trevor's going to have to start playing way better. The division, I mean, obviously the Texans are getting better, but it's really not that tough of a division, right?
No, it's not. You're going to be able to compete if you can turn Trevor Lawrence around. I get it. But to me, you look at it, okay, he was good with Tampa Bay, but they were really good offensively the year before this. It wasn't like he improved them. They were good both years offensively with that offense. A. B, I think it's a weird...
I mean, I would have hired Munkin, right? I would have gone out and get Todd Munkin.
I just thought there were better options.
Munkin being an older guy, I don't know. He could have been offered that job and said, no, I'm going to stay here with Lamar Jackson and,
I think he wants to be a head coach.
Maybe he does. But
maybe not that spot. You could be right. No, you could be right.
I mean, listen, the Ravens offense isn't going anywhere, right? They're going to be pretty good next year. So maybe he's waiting for a different opening. Maybe he's waiting for that job in Cincinnati to open and he wants that. I don't know.
I completely agree.
So maybe he's like, I don't really want to go to Jacksonville. And Munkin's the kind of guy that I think is only going to, he's a little bit older. I think he's been around a while. It's probably going to be like a one shot for him and see how he does. Like if he gets fired, he'll probably be an OC the rest of his career. So maybe he just didn't. Not to say he was offered it and turned it down. I have no idea, but I'm with you. He probably would have taken it, but it's still Jacksonville's not a horrible situation because you have a guy that most people think can be a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
But it's not the best either. So Munkin, maybe he's just like, I'll just stick with Lamar and he'll be, now that Ben Johnson's gone and all those hot hires, he'll be like at the top of everybody's board next year.
No, yeah, I agree. What did you get? What did you give this one?
A B-.
B-. Okay. I'm going to give it a C just because I don't know that this was a good hire. Like I hope it does work out. I don't dislike Trevor Lawrence. I actually kind of feel bad for him. I kind of feel bad for Jacksonville fans the way I feel bad for Bills fans. So I kind of hope it works out. I hope they end up being better.
I used to be a big Jags fan back in the day.
Yeah, I bet you did. You jumped ship quite a bit on your teams there.
Yeah, right.
You're not Ryan McLaughlin jumping on the Chiefs bandwagon and celebrating Super Bowls.
I love Bart Brunell. I love Fred Taylor. I love Steve Smith. And we were coached by a fantastic coach in Tom Coughlin. Okay.
I'm just saying. Look, Bobby Slowick was anointed last year as the second coming of Jesus Christ, and they fired him this year. So. For the Texans.
Dude, I'm starting to think that must have been C.J. Stroud and him must really not have gotten along. I think that must have been
There's
deal.
Something going on
Receivers,
there.
yeah. No one must have liked him. To call it quits that quick after everybody wanted him, I mean, it's, yeah, anyway. That was a weird deal.
Completely agree. He was like been mentioned for head coaching jobs, you know,
Yeah.
and then he's fired the next year.
Yeah.
By the way, I forgot to mention about the Pete Carroll hire. You know, that puts Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll back in the same division, baby. Oh, I can't wait. 2 times a year we get that matchup. That's going to be beautiful. That is going to be such a fun game
Pete
now.
beats him the first game. It'd be so fun.
Yeah, I just want to see the handshake after the game. Oh my gosh.
What's your deal, bud? That's great.
I swear Pete Carroll is just, he doesn't even want to coach anymore. He's just trolling Jim Harbaugh.
That's what someone said is like, the only reason he took this job is he wants to play against Jim again.
I think that's literally the only reason. He just absolutely wants to troll Jim Harbaugh. Okay, we'll go through these next ones quickly. Here we go. Oh, here's a good one. Maybe not quickly. New York Jets, Aaron Glenn. I'll start with this one. Okay, Aaron Glenn. This is a D-. This is the only hire.
Not surprising to hear from you. You have a history of going after black coaches, but go ahead, please. I'd love to hear it. Please, yeah.
Oh,
Imagine that black head coach. Don't give a D-.
Jayden Daniels is my favorite quarterback, sir. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Look, man. This is a horrible hire. I'm sorry. I understand he played for the Jets. I understand that people think he was going to be a head coach. Look, you hired a guy. Let's talk about this. This is I would say it's a D. Okay, look at it from an organizational perspective. All right, who was your last head coach? Robert Saleh, a defensive guy, motivator, leader. That's the type of guy. What is Aaron Glenn? The exact same thing. Is Aaron Glenn a guy who's scheming shit up over there? No. Is he I don't understand how you can sit there and hire a guy who is the exact same type of guy as a guy you just fucking fired. It makes absolutely zero sense. Like, what in the world are you thinking here? Yeah, I want to hire this guy. It's the same thing we've had for the last 2 decades. Rex Ryan. Who was the coach before Robert Saleh there? You know?
Todd.
What?
Todd Bowles.
There you go. Todd Bowles, right? Like, so we literally have guys, it's the same coach over and over and over again, right? I don't get it. And then you look at it just from the perspective of, okay, what is Aaron Glenn? Okay? So he's been on a team with Dan Campbell's the head coach. Comes in. Dan Campbell is the leader, the personality there. Okay? What have the Lions been good at over the last 4 years? What are they known for? Their offense. They're a top 5 offense, if not the best offense in the league over the last 3 seasons. Okay? They have been phenomenal offensively, and they've been a bad, below average defense. Okay? And I understand everybody gives them a pass this year because they had so many injuries, and they did. They had plenty of injuries. All right? They didn't get a single stop in the playoff game. Not one stop. They did not force a single stop the entire game. Not one. 45 points to a rookie quarterback at home. I get it. They had guys coming in off the street. Look, the guy has year after year had a defense in the bottom 10 in the league. You hired a guy who has a defense that is bottom 3rd of the NFL year after year as your head coach to replace a guy who was a defensive guy who had defenses in the top 5 every single year in Robert Saleh when he was with San Francisco. So it makes absolutely zero sense. This is a horrific hire. Terrible, terrible hire. The only worst hire in this coaching cycle is Brian Schottenheimer of the Dallas Cowboys.
Keep it short and sweet here. It's an A for the Jets.
You're such a troll. Give your actual grade.
A fantastic hire.
Give your actual grade.
Leader of men. Learn from the best leader of men, Dan Campbell. He's going to turn this organization around.
So you're on record with this.
Dylan is a noted hater. We'll just put it that way. And we'll move on. So this is just an ugly part of our show, Bailey. I'll tell you.
Let me tell you this.
Look at Bailey laughing. It's really disgusting if you ask me. But, let's just move on. We don't have to talk about it anymore.
I just want to make sure that you're on record so we can go back to the tape here and say, you're saying Aaron Glenn's going to turn this franchise around.
Oh, yeah.
And no, Bailey, I want this on record. I don't want when they fire him in 2 years and I'm in here gloating and like I did with Mike Tomlin and he comes back and says, first of all, troll job here, troll job. No, he is dead serious right here. He's saying Aaron Glenn's going to turn that franchise around. This is on record. Okay.
Great hire. And we thank the Rooney Rule for this hire and the Detroit Lions will get like a 2nd and a 3rd round pick for this. The Lions will because of the Rooney Rule. He's an assistant from an African-American assistant that deserved the job in New York got hired, so they'll get 2 draft picks.
Wait, is that actually how it works?
That's how the Rooney Rule works, yeah.
That's actually the craziest thing I've ever heard. Okay, Chicago Bears hire Ben Johnson.
Everybody wanted him. I short and simple, I'd give it an A. I mean, I won't give it an A+ because who knows how it's going to end up working out, but it's an A because that's who everybody wanted, and the Bears got him. But he hired fucking Dennis Allen as his DC. So. I
can't believe he did that. That was crazy. Apparently, people think he's still a good defensive coordinator, just a bad head coach. But I don't get it. Yeah, I think it's an A. This is the best guy you could have gotten. You had to go out and get an offensive guy. You had to go get a guy who can build Caleb Williams up. Do I think Ben Johnson is probably a little bit too cocky? Does he get outsmart himself sometimes? Yeah, but you didn't have a better option out there. This was the best option. I mean, if they had gone out and hired some of the guys I was hearing, Brian Flores, Aaron Glenn, defensive guys, it would have made absolutely zero sense. You just fired a defensive guy with Matt Eberflus. That would have been a Jets type of move, right? You got a young quarterback, you get the offensive guy in there. Look, now I will say this, there's no excuse for Caleb Williams now. If Caleb Williams doesn't improve over the next couple of years and turn into a pretty good NFL quarterback, I mean, this guy turned Jared Goff into a competent NFL quarterback. If he does not,
we'll let Big Dog decide that.
If he does not,
we'll quit on Caleb when Big Dog's ready to quit.
If he doesn't improve, you can't hide behind coaching anymore or any. They've got talent, they've got a coach. Time to perform, Caleb. Time to step up. Wash that bullshit fingernail paint shit off your fingers and let's play some fucking football. All right. Last one, okay. Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel hired by the New England Patriots. A+ for me. That's a great hire. I love the hire. Perfect.
It's a damn shame that the Tennessee Titans let that man walk out the door, isn't it, Bailey? Then fired their GM the next year. That's a woman owner for you.
And who's the head coach now there? I don't even know his name. Thank you, Brian Callahan. So you got Brian Callahan.
Brian Callahan, some say, is the greatest first quarter coach ever in the history of the game.
Some people do say that.
Some people say that.
Okay.
Will Levis, greatest first drive quarterback in history.
Okay, I'm gonna do this. I know we're probably a little bit over, Bailey. If you need to go, you're good. I'm gonna do a quick last segment here with Turner, and we're gonna run through some of these. It's one quick game. It's called Good Idea. Wait, is that what we're gonna call it? Oh yeah, Witty or Shitty. Okay, good idea, bad idea, Witty or Shitty. All right. So I'm gonna give you something that happened in sports. You're gonna tell me whether this was a good idea or a bad idea. All right. The NFL is considering replacing the onside kick with an alternative way of getting the ball back. It would be a 4th down and 20. Would be the main possible replacement. So you have a 4th and 20, and if you convert the 4th and 20, you just keep the ball wherever you were. Good idea, bad idea.
I'm torn
Witty
on
or Shitty.
I'm torn on this. I guess I'll say Witty from entertainment purposes, but I'm tired of them fucking with the game. Just leave the game. It's like
I agree.
The kickoff. You learn it in between the 20 and the 10, or just. I mean, I'm just kind of tired of them fucking with it. So actually, I'll change it. I'll say Shitty. Just leave the games. Listen, leave the games the same way and get the fucking calls right on reviews and get the expedited reviews like they have in the XFL, where someone's eye in the sky just gets stuff right. Okay, and I really am torn on it because the onside kick does suck because no one ever gets it. But I mean, it's supposed to be hard to steal a possession if you're down in the game. And especially with the NFL, the way they throw PIs, you get a 4th and 20. I'm sure you throw it up, you'll get PI 25% of the time. It's just
they need to address that.
I'll just if PI isn't an automatic first down, then I would say okay, because like I said, they almost from an entertainment standpoint, I get why they want to do this, because to give someone a chance. And a 4th and 20 is still incredibly hard to convert. It's probably like a 10% chance. But the penalties, in my opinion, should not be automatic first downs. They could be half the distance or something.
That's exactly what it should be.
That's what I would do.
Or if it's like a hand to the face, it's just 5 yards, right?
Yeah,
like
replay.
No, I completely agree. And I thought the exact same thing. It's like I like the general idea, and I get it. I think there was 3 of 41 onside kicks were recovered this year.
Yeah.
But I would just dude, I don't understand. I agree. I hated that we changed the kickoff rule in general. Why don't we just go back to the old onside kick where you can do shit, like where it's not, it's hard, but it's not impossible, right? Like where you can get a running start and shit. And I understand the whole thing was the danger of the game, but they're not really, it's really not that much of a collision. Like the kickoffs where you're full speed running was the worst part of it, I think. But the onside kicks weren't really that dangerous. I don't know. I just think, like, I agree with you. Like, this, to me, it feels like you're fucking with the sanctity of the game, changing all this shit. It's like, this isn't going to be the same game in 20 years.
Honestly, I'm all for them getting spots right, calls right, but I would just honestly go back to the old kicks, and then you could surprise onside kick or do whatever you wanted. Like, just go back to the old rules in that regard.
Agree.
Have no wedges, right? Like where they used to, lock arms and have 3 or 4 guys, and you have to go down
right.
Tomahawk. None of that, obviously, which they had already gotten rid of, So, I'd be interested. And then, it's the kickoff rules are stupid. But anyway,
they are. Other rules.
JB likes losing his mind over the kickoff rules. I probably would have kicked a surprise onside kick there, but now this league's gay, homie. That's what he said.
He likes to say that a lot.
Yes.
I also was looking at other rule changes I would like to see. Obviously, we want the replay assist to be improved, and I think they should be add on being able to look at like things that are obvious. Like if you throw
face mask,
if you throw a penalty, was the face mask grabbed or not? Yeah. Was there a clear, like if it's called like, or if there's like a clear defensive hold or something, right? Like something where a jersey is ripped, very very obvious things. I'm okay with that. And then also I think they need to get rid of and we've said this on the show multiple times, but defensive holding, hands to the face.
Should not be automatic first.
Should not be an automatic first down.
There's already enough offense in the league. Well, they originally did that because what I've always heard is like and I'm making up like 80s and 90s, like they're just very defensive battles. No one could move, kind of Stone Age offenses, and no one could really move the ball. So they implemented that so there would be higher scoring games, and and they made them automatic first downs. But yes, I think at this point we can get rid of those. I mean it's ridiculous. Just 5-yard penalty. Or 10-yard penalty, whatever it is.
No, I completely agree. Okay, number 2, San Francisco 49ers make Robert Saleh the highest paid coordinator in the NFL at $5 million per year.
I know you're not
Witty or shitty.
I know you're not a huge fan. I think it's Witty. I think Robert Saleh.
I actually like Robert Saleh.
Okay, yeah, he's a good defensive mind, and that's that defense needs to get back to the what they once were, and they're certainly not. So.
And they've tried multiple defensive coordinators there since D'Amico left. So it was Robert Saleh, D'Amico, then it was...
It was definitely the right hire. Just pay him $5 million, bring him in, and just get that Shanahan, just get that side of the ball straight. Obviously, barring injuries, we're gonna be fine on offense.
No, literally, he was like having to go in on defensive meetings and like sit in on the meetings and shit. Yeah. It was costing them on the other side.
Now he's not gonna have to do any of that.
No, so he's not. And I like Robert Saleh a lot. Robert Saleh is the guy from who was left. I thought that was the guy who I would be most happy with that the Cowboys hired.
Maybe
wanted them to hire him.
Big Dog that didn't like Saleh.
No, it is Big Dog. He can't stand Robert Saleh. I've always liked Robert Saleh. I actually think he's a pretty good coach. Okay, number 3, Greg Popovich is working rigorously at his rehab to be able to come back and coach at some point. Is this Witty or shitty?
Well, it's Witty in the sense that I know he wants to come out on his own terms or come back on his own terms, but I'm hoping that he can make it back by the end of the season, coach 10, 15 games, and then move into just a president of basketball operations type deal. Because we definitely want to keep him around, keep Wemby happy, keep all the other guys around. But I just think the day-to-day coaching, I know he's going to want to be around basketball, and that's all he has left. I genuinely think he's going to come back and coach another year. I think that's what he wants to do.
He definitely wants to.
But if I were him and I was like his family, I know his wife passed away, but I'd be like, dude, just stay around the team and just be the president of basketball, like operations. You still travel, still go on the road trips.
Yeah.
Hell, you can sit behind the bench like Pat Riley does, like whatever. But I mean, just go into that Pat Riley mode for the Spurs.
Yep. I think it's Witty if he does what you said. I don't think it's a good idea if he tries to come back and coach long-term on the perspective of his health.
Yeah.
If you had a stroke and you're that age and he doesn't lose his mind like he used to, but I don't know. It seems like I knew a coach in high school who came back after a stroke and had another stroke. Like it's just,
it happens.
It can happen. So I don't know. It's kind of scary. And it would be a travesty for like something to happen to him in the middle of a game on the sideline. So
yeah, I just think go into that role, front office, and then like, obviously let whoever's coaching like, hey, I'm going to have a big impact, I'm going to be at practices and like whatever and just making sure, and most coaches, first of all, anybody that we hire is going to be one of his proteges anyway. So it's like, not that they're going to care and they're going to do the stuff that the way he did it anyway. So
I am interested to see who we go get though, because you think about like, and I like Will Hardy a lot, but he hasn't had a ton of success in Utah. Yeah. And so I don't know that's who I thought, I could see us going back and getting him, but I don't know we'd do that now. Optically, it doesn't look as good when you've been on a team and not won in 4 years. Yeah. Number one, and then you look at some other guys like Ime Udoka isn't leaving Houston. He's turning that team around, and you have, I don't know who else we'd go get.
Mitch Johnson. If he leaves, people are saying, which I think is crazy, but people are saying that if Pop does come back, he could ultimately take another job at a team that's not as good. Whatever, like that's
Mitch Johnson.
Yeah, firing coach, which who cares? But I honestly, and I could be wrong, and I have no idea if he wants to do it, but I would not be shocked if Pop comes back and then Manu Ginobili is like an assistant for a year and takes over the head coach.
I would love it.
I don't know if he wants to do it, but a lot of people
that's actually
behind the scenes are saying like want him to be the next head coach.
I would love that.
And he still lives in San Antonio. And like, I don't know if he would want to do it or is trying to do it.
Yep.
But
that would be awesome.
I mean, I don't.
Spurs fans would be thrilled.
No better guy for the job for sure.
No, that would be amazing to have him back. Now, I would say this: I would like him to be an assistant for a couple years.
Oh,
it's really hard if you've never coached.
And I think that's what would like if that was going to happen, he would be on the bench this coming year for the Spurs.
Sure.
But that
would be cool.
Who knows?
Okay, number 4, and we'll go 2 more quickly. Number 4, Ben Johnson takes a shot at Matt LaFleur in his press conference. He said something along the lines of, I love this division. You have Dan Campbell and you have Kevin O'Connell. Those are 2 of the best coaches in the league, 2 Coach of the Year candidates. And honestly, I really enjoy beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. Witty or shitty comment?
Witty, because it's either they hate each other, which I don't think is the case, or they're buddies, but either way, it's pretty fucking funny.
It is pretty funny.
I'm good with it.
I thought it was hilarious. But if they aren't buddies...
I think it's pretty fucking funny.
No, it's hilarious. But if they aren't buddies, it's going to make that rivalry really fun.
Yeah.
It's going to make it kind of a Pete Carroll, Harbaugh type deal.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Number 5. The Penn State Nittany Lions hire Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator of Ohio State, and make him the highest paid coordinator in all of college football, making over $3 million a year. Witty or shitty? And give it to me from both. Give it to me overall, but I'm curious your perspective from Ohio State as well, not just Penn State. Is it Witty from Penn State?
Yeah,
okay.
For sure.
What about from Ohio State?
I don't know how you don't match the offer.
That's what I'm.
It doesn't make any sense.
That's what I don't understand. What happened?
I don't know if he. Maybe he thought that, if they lose in the playoff, that Ryan Day was going to get fired and he was going to get the job, perhaps, something along those lines. Like they were going to hire him. That's the only thing I can really think of. And maybe there was just animosity there. And then they offered him $3 million and Ryan Day was like, fine, whatever. Most of the times, too, there's a young guy that's under him there that is like, oh, they think this guy's just as charismatic, can do the exact same thing, and we can save $2 million to put into our roster, essentially.
Yeah.
But I think it is kind of crazy they lost. I think there had to be something behind closed doors that they didn't offer him the same amount of money. Because the optics of it just looked bad anyway, that like Penn State's coming in here and just spending $3 million and taking their defensive coordinator away. Like, they're fucking Penn State. Like, so it had to be something like that, in my opinion. I don't think it was just as cut and dry as like, oh yeah, we're not going to pay you $3 million. Sorry.
Yeah, it's such a weird... Like there's something's going on, right? Something happened, because what the weird thing about it is, you think about when coaches like that leave, that defense was so good this year. There's going to be some guys who follow him and go to Penn State. Like, I believe there'll be a couple guys who follow him and go to Penn State. Maybe not a ton, but there's going to be 2 or 3 guys from that defense who follow him. And it's like, if I'm just thinking about it from Ohio State's perspective, it's like, well, okay, he was already going, when he got that job, he's one of the most well-respected. He was the DC at Oklahoma State, one of the most well-respected DCs in the country. He takes the DC job at Ohio State. Their defense is elite this year. They've gotten better and better. This is his best year. They win a national championship, and it was kind of on the heels of the defense, and you leave and go to a rival who is, I mean, in all fairness, it's a step down, right? In terms of the talent you're getting, maybe not defensively, but overall on the team, yes. Like, I don't know. It's so weird. Something happened, and like now it said they asked him not to attend the celebration of the national title and all this shit. Like, it's super weird.
I think something happened because you know that the first thing the agent's doing is coming back and like, hey, you want to match that offer? And they said no. Also, the thinking outside the box of maybe why he went there. Maybe he knows from boosters there, people, that it's like, hey, as long as you're doing a good job with the defense, if we're losing big games and we're getting rid of James Franklin, you're taking the job at Penn State.
That could be a good point.
I mean, it's like, hey, we keep getting into the same spot. We can't beat Ohio State. You haven't had a big-time opportunity yet, and James Franklin keeps losing the big games, right? So, I mean, That's another thing that I could see. Maybe he thinks that he can coach his way to that head coaching job. You know,
it's one of the weirder things I've seen in college football. Like I can't think of a time where I've seen a move.
There had
like
to be
this.
some kind of falling out or something.
Yeah, this quickly after too. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, that pretty much wraps it up. I don't really have anything else on the docket here. I probably went over on time, but we had a lot of stuff to talk about today. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure if you're new to the channel, like and subscribe. Check us out on social media. Follow us on or subscribe to our Patreon. $5 a month helps support the channel. Make sure to like and subscribe, comment below. Let us know what you think about the conference championships, who you're picking in the Super Bowl, all that good stuff. All of our socials and website and everything is linked in the description below.
And if you're hurt in a car crash or anything happens to you and you don't call Jeff Davis, fuck you.
That's a great close to the podcast there. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week.